Hello and welcome to Mandobug Crafts, episode 133 live. So I am doing this live on YouTube here. So if you're here with me during the live, definitely stop in the chat and say hi. Let me know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, you can leave comments down below. If you want to answer any of the questions that I asked today, or you have your own comments you'd like to share, I do get back to those usually within the week and respond. So starting out with something I've learned today, I finally got the shoulder shaping solidified on my sweater for the ice cream party Cardi adult version, which is I'm naming Ice Cream Delight. So that is my first work in progress that I want to share, and I will talk about how I went about the shoulder shaping and what I learned about doing that. Let me go ahead and say good morning / afternoon to everyone. So hi Thea. I don't see Thea's comment. That's weird. Sometimes because I stream with StreamYard, sometimes it's all out of junky order on my side. So if you're there, Thea, hi, good night also. And hello, Catherine. Hello, Mocha. Good afternoon to you. Hello, Maud. What time is it for you? I always forget. Good morning, Catherine. And good morning, Lacey. Good afternoon to Lacey. And hello, Samantha. I think it's afternoon for you too. Okay, the adult version, the Ice Cream Delight cardigan. So this is a cardigan that I'm crocheting up using Hobbii Tweed Delight. There we go, Hobbii Tweed Delight. And this is colorway 1, which is the white with black flecks. And I have started with the back panel. So this cardigan is a seamed modified drop shoulder V-neck cardigan. And since it's seamed, it's worked in pieces. And here is the back panel. I'm a little nervous because it's looking a little small. So this is the smallest size. It's to fit a 32-inch bust. The pattern's written for 2 inches of positive ease plus a 1/4 inch seam allowance on each side. So it should be roughly on this piece about 2.5 inches wider than my actual 32-inch bust. And it's not quite looking like that, but I based everything off of my post blocking gauge, which means it's probably highly likely that this is going to grow a little bit when I block it. I didn't mention the Tweed Delight is a number 4 medium worsted weight yarn, and it's 85% wool, 10% acrylic, and 5% viscose. So wool does tend to grow sometimes when you block it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on the way that it was turned into yarn, as well as what you're doing with it when you make the fabric. So, but as you can see, if I just throw this, and I've got my ends hanging out here, this total side note, when I'm designing, I like to leave my ends to the very last moment in case I end up having to rip out. I can easily unpick those ends and unravel my work, whereas once you weave it in, you have to cut and you lose yarn. So if I throw the back panel on my front, you can see this is the neck is a little high up on the back, which is going to be just fine. And then the shoulder shaping. So it pretty much is contouring my body at this point. Just imagine it, how it would fit in the back. There is also going to be slip stitch ribbing that's applied afterwards around the neckline. So again, that's going to be up across my back. So the neckline is a V-neck in the front. So there's not going to be like any tight ribbing up choking on your neck. But it does mean that I have a nice snug fit around the neck, which is what you want for a cardigan so that it doesn't fall off your shoulders. That's the whole point in doing this shoulder shaping, is so that the cardigan sits nicely on your body and you're not constantly pulling it up to keep it on. Oh yeah, I haven't even talked about something I've learned. Oh, before I get into that, this is the modified part of the drop shoulder. So on a traditional drop shoulder sweater, it just goes straight up the full width on the whole back panel. And like drop shoulder sweaters with minimal shaping that don't have the shoulder shaping, if you do a boat neck, you could actually get away with a full rectangle for your back panel. But anyways, this is a more fitted style cardigan. So there is a cutout for your armhole, which what that does is it brings the sleeves a little more up into your body so they're not hanging off your shoulder as much. It also shortens that crossback, right? So this is the back of the cardigan, and this is what's going to fit across your back. If I hadn't done the armhole cutout, that would be covering my whole back there, and without a tighter crossback fit, it lends itself to that feeling of falling off when you're making a cardigan. On a sweater, it doesn't matter so much. Or a pullover, it doesn't matter as much. It's more like, oh, I just have extra baggy fabric back there, which is fine for a loose baggy fit. But you just kind of, I feel like you have to get very particular when it comes to cardigans, because if they're baggy and don't have shaping, for me, they tend to just keep trying to fall off. So let me catch up in the chat before I get into what I learned about the shoulder shaping. I promise we'll get there. 6 p.m. So good evening. Good evening, Mod. We're all over the place. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I love it. It is morning for me. I'm uploading another YouTube video. Oh, congratulations. It's exciting every time you put up a YouTube video. It's so much work just to make one video. So congratulations on your new video that's uploading. It's noon on the East Coast for us right now. Yes. Good afternoon. It is a huge time difference from the West Coast, about 9 hours. So it works out pretty well that I stream pretty early my time, so you can catch me in the evening your time. I know that's how it is when I catch Reggie of J Hook Crochet's lives, because she's in Germany. I think it's like 7 p.m. her time when it's like 9 a.m. my time. What is the fiber content of the yarn? Oh, I did just repeat that out, but we'll do it again just to be safe if anyone new is joining us. It's 85% wool, 10% acrylic, and 5% viscose. Oh, and it's a single ply, you guys. If you haven't seen this yet, it is a very loose spun, I think potentially fold, which means slightly felted single. It's got a little bit of a fuzz to it, which feels really nice against the skin. But when you unravel it, it does stick to itself a little bit because that little bit of a halo is grabby. So it was a little difficult to frog. It didn't get tangled, but it was trying to snag. So I just had to be slow and purposeful about it. Luckily, I didn't have a lot to undo. That will block out nicely, I think. I think so too, and will be a very flattering fit, I bet. That is the hope. That is the hope. I want it to fit snug but comfortable. CC. I already forgot what CC stands for. I know it's an abbreviation for something. I love this shaping. So nice to see a more fitted garment. Yeah, sorry the ends are like seriously everywhere, but yeah, I'm very excited about this. It's more what you see when you are going to sew a garment, when you get your schematic out for your garment and you start cutting it to sew it. It's more along this shape. So the shoulder shaping, what I had mentioned last week, I'm pretty sure, is how I wasn't sure how I was going to decrease this out. Because as you can see, you do the two separate shoulders. You do them separately. So I was right here at the full width, and I started one of the shoulders. And I knew that to do the first massive decrease on the neckline, you can just skip stitches. But what I was concerned about is, and this one's tricky, like I seriously sat at the computer for a couple hours because it's one of those rows of instruction where you have the neck hole shaping going on at the same time as you're doing the shoulder shaping and you're working flat. So every row is reverse and they're decreasing at different rates. Yes, it was a pain to like, okay, I just turned. So now that we're going to start with the decreases for the neckline, and then we're going to do the decreases on the shoulder. And now we turn. So we do the shoulder first and then the neckline. And they're almost different every row, the number that you're decreasing. It was a little all over the place. So what I ended up doing, because I needed to decrease 3 or more stitches at times, and if you do like a half double crochet together 3 times in a row, it starts to curve your fabric in. And I wanted this nice and flat, like you can see. So what you can start doing is slipping stitches and then working stitches. But if you're working in half double crochet, what ends up happening, so you have your slip stitches, and then your half double crochet, and then your slip stitches, and you end up with like this stair step look, which it gets sewn into the seam. So if you ever follow a pattern like that, it's not the end of the world. But I wanted something a little more curved because it's easier to seam a curve when the line is curved versus stair stepped. So, what I ended up doing is, and this was a pain as well when it came to the math of like how many stitches are we working with. I slip stitched until the final two decreases. Um, which when you do a half double crochet together, it takes 2 stitches to make it, and that is a whole other part of the math. Um, so let's say I needed to decrease 5 stitches for that size. I slip stitched until I was doing my last 2 decreases. So I'd slip stitch 3. In this stitch, I would do a single crochet, and then I would half double crochet 2 together for my last decrease. So that's 5 decreases. And the single crochet was considered a decrease because when you turn and go back, you don't work into it. And so what ended up happening is this gentle curve, and this is what I assumed was going to work, and it did end up working very well. So there's slip stitches, this is a single crochet, this is a half double crochet 2 together, and then you work across, and when you come back, it ends with the half double crochet 2 together and the unworked single crochet. So it curved all on its own. It worked beautifully. It was a pain to figure out when it comes to the math side of it. And like I said, how many stitches we're working with, and at what point are we decreasing, and how many stitches are we leaving unworked. But it's a beautiful curve, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. So let me see if I can catch up. I love that color. Me too. It is my chocolate chip ice cream cardigan. I think it's gonna go very well with my wardrobe. This is very much the kind of cardigan I see myself throwing on when I wake up in the morning to have a cup of coffee when it's cold. Oh, yes. Yes, I agree. I had started a cardigan, but I'm going to stop and frog and wait for this pattern instead. Oh, thank you, Lacey. I love how it's working up, and I want to use my special yarn on the ice cream delight. Ooh, which yarn is this? And you don't have to share the name of the cardigan you had started, but what do you know what kind of style it was? And what it was that made you decide that it wasn't going to be for you? I'm just curious with my whole adventure into garment design and garment making. And as I learn, I do plan on putting out more videos going into detail about garment design. Really, I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing and talking about before I sit down and talk about it. I haven't made a garment for myself yet because boxy just doesn't fit my body type and it's hard to find more fitted patterns. I need some waist definition. Ooh, so I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't done anything past the bust, but I definitely see that happening in the future. Right now, I've been working on fitting to the upper area, and whatever the full bust is, I just keep that circumference going all the way down. Well, full bust plus ease, which for the cardigans I've been working on has been anywhere from 2 to 4 inches, which is a more fitted style. But yeah, I have yet to adventure into actually pulling that in at the waist, and then potentially increasing back out for the hips. But I do see myself doing that eventually down the line. That might be a good one for a pullover, like a more hourglass fitted pullover. But for now, I'm starting with the very, very basics. So yeah, that is the Ice Cream Delight cardigan. I have been filming it as I'm making it. I think I lost a video last night, which is unfortunate because I finished the shoulder shaping. And I think the video where I showed how to join for the other side, and mentioned that you just repeat the same thing on the other side, I think that got corrupt. Because I did notice that last night. I was trying to upload the thumbnail for this YouTube video, and my phone's like, this file's corrupt. And I was like, okay, delete. And it said, deleted your video. And I was like, wait, I thought it was just a photo and now I can't find it. So luckily things like that you can just talk through and do like a voiceover to fix the other one. But I did start the front panel, and I spent a couple more hours last night until my eyes hurt. And then I put it away for the V-neck shaping. So this is the front panel for the size I'm making, which is the to fit a 32-inch bust size, which I'm like a 32.5-inch bust right now, so we'll see. So this is the front panel minus ribbing. So that's the other thing, is when you make the back panel, there's no ribbing across the bottom of the sweater. So it's gonna look like it's a little bit short, but I think this one I've accounted for 2 inches of ribbing. So, so yeah, there will be additional length to the bottom of this. Same with the front panel, there will be the additional, I think, 2 inches of ribbing, but there's also gonna be either 1.5 or 2 inches of ribbing along the raw edge of the cardigan as well. So that is something that, that's why this looks so small, is basically what I'm getting at, because this looks like a little itty bitty nothing that's not going to cover anything. But trust me, down here, you stand up a little bit, down here at my size plus ribbing, it's going to work out really well. So I'm at the part where I'm working plain, and then you do the underarm cutout, and then when you do the underarm cutout, that's what starts the V-neck decreases. And that's where my mind last night just like, it got fuzzy, because the way this has to work, you have, and this is just kind of giving you an idea into probably why there's not more fitted garments, because it's a ton of math, and how hard it is to design a more fitted garment. I need this to be the exact same number of rows as the back. And so I need, if I'm going to start my V-neck shaping at this underarm cutout, and I want it to stop where the shoulder shaping starts, because I don't want to have to be doing V-neck shaping and shoulder shaping at the same time, because I already went through that mess on the back neck. I need the number of rows that are worked flat here to be the same distance for my V-neck shaping. And I did the width of the shoulders need to be the same. So I have to decrease to the same number of stitches that the shoulder shaping takes. So what that means for the different sizes is that they can't all decrease at the same rate, because, as you know, the general size of people gets wider faster than taller on average when you're looking at average sizes. So I have to decrease faster in a shorter amount of period for the larger sizes, and much slower for the smaller sizes, to make sure that the fit is the same type of fit throughout. If I decreased at the same rate for both, like, it would go really wide at the small size and then straight. And then for the large size, it would be more like a nice V cut. So what that means is I have to make sure the rows check out, that the shoulder, so the number of rows match the back, the number of stitches match the back, but then also I'm getting the the right decrease ratio to make that happen. It's been a mess. I finally got the numbers to work last night so that the rows matched and the stitch counts matched, but we're working flat. So, and we're only decreasing on one side. So what ended up happening, the decrease rate for some of the sizes decreases on odd numbers instead of even numbers, which means they have to be separated out from the other sizes, because you're going to be decreasing at the beginning of the row on the decreased row for some sizes, and at the end of the row for the decreases on some sizes. So yeah, just to give you guys a little bit of an insight when it comes to designing fitted garments. It's a lot of math. Designing in general is a lot of math. But yeah, so here's my itty bitty front. The plan was to get up to the underarm shaping for both my two front panels. And then figure out, then go down, because sorry, I'm all over the place. I got the numbers to work. I haven't written that out in the pattern yet, and I'm not allowing myself to crochet that part in my sample until it's written, so that I am following my own instructions, so I can minimize mistakes in translating what I'm doing to paper. But I didn't get to finish last night. Maybe I'll tell that story later. We'll see how I feel. Let's see. Oh, the Malabrigo yarn. I was just going to make a boxy panel, 2 front panels seamed together and add sleeve style. I wasn't following a pattern, just using my body measurements. Yeah, and that is the bonus thing to the boxy style is you can definitely just use your own measurements and go for it, but there is also like that risk factor of like that's a lot of work, it's a lot of fancy yarn, and is it going to fit in a way that is comfortable to you and that you want to continue wearing? Because that's the issue that I came across making my own garments that don't fit well is I like really nice yarn and I am willing to invest in that and invest in the time to make the garment. But if I'm following something that doesn't have enough, isn't fitted enough, I just don't wear it usually. And it's hard to know what you're going to wear until after you've made it. So it's a tough call. You really just have to go through the cycle of making things and potentially hating them and maybe rip them out and reuse the yarn for something else, and then to steer away from patterns like that in the future. It's at least what I've been doing. And now that I have the skills to make my own, I'm all over this, making the kind of sweater I want. I love that. I'm pear-shaped, by the way. Yeah, me too. I typically, like in sewing sizes, I do one size for the bust and then 2 sizes larger for my hips. Um, Sorry about your lost footage. Yeah. Luckily, I think it was literally like maybe a minute of video, but it's never fun. And that's like the first time that's happened to me on my phone. Like what corrupted it? It's the middle of the night and it which is the best time for me to film, by the way, because the kids are sleeping. I'm late, but I'm here. Hello, Lindsay. I hope your gussets are going well. She sent me a picture earlier this week. The pattern she's following, it was not the best written, and even I was confused. So hopefully that's going well. Let me know if you want me to start mine earlier since I'm making a larger size. I can test stuff out for you. Yeah, I will shoot you a message, Lacey. I am at the point where the back panel is written for all the sizes. And because I have the back panel done, I might be able to give you a decent yarn estimate. Right now, I like rough guessed that the 32-inch bust size for me is going to take about 12 or 13 balls of the Tweed Delight, which is 50 grams. So you're looking at 600 to 700-gram hanks of yarn for the smallest size. But I don't really know what it'd be from there. But I might have enough information to pop out some basic estimates. Good morning, Acela. Thanks for joining the live. So the other project I've been working on, and also I've been working on another project, which I'll talk a little bit about later. It's a secret project that I can't show you. But the other project that I can show you is the Everyday Swing Cardigan. I'm still waiting on the rest of my yarn to get here. So the Ice Cream Delight is a worsted weight cardigan with a 5mm. The Everyday Swing Cardigan is a sport weight with a 4mm hook. And so I did the other half of the sleeve that I could since my yarn's not here. And I can actually try this on with my shirt today because I'm not wearing a sweater. So I've got 2 partial sleeves. So exciting. So this one is a top-down seamless modified raglan sweater. So it's got a modified increase rate to keep a tighter cross back and a wider front panels. And then also it continues increasing past your full bust to create these super wide front panels so you can hide in your sweatshirt. So I've got all the way the ribbing and everything. I really love how this is turning out. And I'm wearing jeans today, guys. I actually put pants on. And it fits nice and snug across the back. I love that so much. I left my markers in there from where I picked up and joined my sleeves. So I had that little ball left over because this is hand-dyed yarn, and I do have a tag. This is Stardust Fiber Studio Delphinus Sport in the Pumpkin Queen colorway, which was a custom colorway made just for me, available only at the New Knittery. I have it linked down below the shop, but you have to call to custom order the yarn. It's 100% superwash merino wool, 328 yards per 100 grams. And I ordered 6. Totally forgetting about how much extra yarn I was going to need for these front panels. So I currently have this one, and I also have this entire cake, but this cake came with such darker spots. And this one's so much lighter than this one. And because these two won't be enough, because I still have to do the rest of both of my sleeves and then the front panel, which is going to be about 8 inches wide. Like I'm talking heavy front swing for this. I'm talking about cocoon yourself in this sweater. This is the 30 to fit a 32-inch bust size. And you can see how massive these front panels are on me. And what's going to end up happening once the front band is added to the front panel, you're going to have so much extra fabric you can fold it back. And then what ends up happening too is it ends up coming down longer in the front. I'm really excited for it to get added on and to be able to show you guys what it will fully look like when we get there. But so since I need like, I think 6 or 8 inches of front panel all the way around and the rest of the sleeves, this will not be enough. So I ordered 3 more hanks of yarn. They're at the shop, and I called to have them shipped to me. I think they went out yesterday, so hopefully they'll be here soon. But I'm going to take the new 3 hanks and cake them up and see if I can't find one closer to this color and go from there. I wouldn't mind putting this one in the band because it's a little darker. But on the sleeves, I feel like if I start striping this one in, it's going to be too much of a contrast. So I'm going to wait for my yarn to get here and see what I can do. So this one's really just at a pause moment. And I'm really excited about the written version of this one because, well, I still have to write out some of the bust rows for the other sizes, but for the most part, it's completely written out through the sleeves. I just have to add the panel, which applied single crochet ribbing instructions, they're the same. And I've already put them in other patterns, so I can literally just copy paste that and change the number. And the bandwidth is the same for all the sizes. So it's like very, very close to being fully written. But yeah, that's all I've done on this is use that leftover ball that I had saved from the yoke because I'm alternating skeins. Did I say that? My mind is running faster, I think, than my mouth today, which is a problem sometimes. I'm alternating skeins every 2 rows, and I saved leftover yarn from the yoke to put into the sleeves so that the colors didn't stop right at the sleeves, and joined a new color. So had one that was the same and joined a new one and kept going, and now I'm going to be joining a new one. And when you stagger those joins, it's not as harsh of lines. So that's what I did. I left this one attached to my other sleeve, which I think I'm sitting on it now because I've been standing up so much. There we go. So I still got it attached here, and then I'll just join and go down. You can see there's a couple, I think I put 3 inches of positive ease into the sleeves so they're not like suffocating your arms. And this is a superwash merino, so this one will actually grow. So this isn't showing the full ease that you'll get. It's more likely going to grow in rows faster than it will in width, but I do expect a little bit of growth overall on this one. I'm in love with it. It, like, you guys have seen me talking, moving. This ain't going nowhere. Like, it is there to stay. And it doesn't even have the front panels on it yet. Like, I'm so in love with the way this cardigan fits. And I feel like I'm unlocking a formula for myself to continue designing top-down seamless sweaters that fit well. And then I can start to branch off into different patterns and designs. Obviously, I started with what I wanted, which was a heavy front swing hide cocoon cardigan. But then if this works out really well once it goes through testing, I can do a more traditional open front cardigan just with plain panels. I can do another one that's button up and closed. Yeah, I could start adding fun little lace details. The options are endless. So that's very exciting for me to feel like I'm like unlocking this perfect fit for me. And, you know, I know that's not going to be a really good fit for everyone. I'm trying to. We'll find out when we get into testing. But that is the goal. And then hopefully other people who prefer the same kind of fit as I do will be able to make these sweaters and love them just as much as I do. I mentioned I ordered some yarn from Knit Picks, We Crochet, and I think I got the shipping notification on that this week for a more affordable version of this sweater so that I can film the video tutorial to go with it. The one thing I'm running into though with filming the video tutorial, because I'm already doing that one with this one, is that some of the rows or some of the sizes are so different. So I've been filming it saying like, I'm making this size, this is what I'm doing. It's slightly different for these other sizes, so make sure you're following along with the pattern. And part of me is like, is that even helpful to have a video at that point? Because you do need the pattern support. Because then the other option I feel like would be to actually make a different video for each of the sizes. And I just don't know if that's worth the time that it would take to create. All right, where am I at here? I am buying in stages. The Malabrigo is just beautiful, and it is reasonably priced for hand-dyed yarns. It is a pretty decent price for hand-dyed yarns. I will give it that. I have 4 hanks now, and I'm going to order 2 or 3 more next Friday. 6, yeah, that should be a good start. And then also, if you get far enough, you might be able to do a contrast color for the ribbing, for the Ice Cream Delight. And I think contrast ribbing always looks so nice and clean. That cardigan looks lovely on you. The coloring is gorgeous. Thank you. Yes, it is my favorite color. And like you can tell, I love to wear black shirts. It goes perfect with my black shirts. It's nice and bright and cheery, but also not your typical bright colors. Oh, that just looks amazing. Thank you. It looks like one you would want to live in such a good tonal orange. Yeah, I really do think this is adequately named everyday swing cardigan, because I do think this is going to be an everyday one for me. It's based on one that I used to wear every day. You were doing lives without pants on. I mean, I had pants on, but they were sweatpants. I put jeans on today. I'm usually in pajama pants or sweatpants or no, I would be too afraid to wear pants in a live because I don't trust myself to be camera uh coherent enough to like actually pull off no pants. I stand up and jump around too much. Nice design. Thank you. Your Cardi is gorgeous in that color. Thank you, Marquita. Yeah, I think it's turning out really well, and I love the color. And good morning to you too. Crocheters so deserve good fitting wearables. It is time. I agree. I agree. I can just tell you, like, because I kept wondering why. Why isn't this more something that you see more often? And it literally comes down to time, and it's difficult. And like, I literally spent hours in front of the spreadsheet last night, getting the numbers to work and then translating that into a written pattern. When you're looking at 7 sizes in a pattern, it's a lot of concentration, a lot of focus. And when you're doing things like with the Ice Cream Delight, where you've got 2 shapings going on at the same time, and you don't want to make the user figure that out. You want to be able to just write it out for them so they don't have to think about it. Because that's the whole point of buying a pattern, right? So that you don't have to do all the math and figure it out and test it and rip it out. Yeah, it's just a lot of work. And I think when it comes to independent designing, you can pop out a basic hat with a cute little stitch pattern or a cowl or, a smaller project. You can pop those out really quickly. And you can get that volume marks to actually start making a decent income. When you look at the time to put out a sweater, your volume's really going to be cut back. And then when you look at commercial design, you don't get that much more pay for a more complex, in my experience so far, I would get the same pay for a boxy drop shoulder sweater as I would for a custom modified raglan sweater. And since I'm getting the same pay, it's to my advantage to design something that's going to take me the least amount of time. The least amount of time, the more money I stand to make for my time. So it's really not in the industry's advantage to be putting out patterns like this, other than you care about the end user, which is where this is all coming from. So I don't care about my pattern volume. I care more about the quality. And I'm very fortunate to be in a situation where this is not my full, this is not running my household kind of an income. There's not that kind of pressure on my designs, which is great. That was like a rant. Uh, the Cardi is going to be incredible. Thank you. I think so too. I'm so stoked. I just have to wait for my hi Marquita. I just have to wait for my yarn to get here. And so I'm just like checking the mail every day. And yes, Marquita agrees with Lacey. I think so. Is your cat expecting company? Right? She's literally just like perched. No, she likes to go outside in the mornings, and sometimes she gets out before I go live, and so this is her late thankfully, she's not crying to go out. She's patiently waiting for so that if anyone does come, she can just make her way. The cat is ghosting us. Mimmies! Mew mew. Hi. I think she might have been daydreaming. I'd say the video is still worth it even if you make another size. You could ask testers that make other sizes if they're willing to film bits that are drastically different. Yeah. And honestly, it depends on what the person's taking out of the video as well, because I do touch on the fact that it's different, but maybe just being able to see the piece at that stage of making is a unlock factor for a lot of people. Like it's one thing to look at the stitches, and then it's another thing to look at what it's supposed to be. So even if the written instructions or the actual instructions are in the video, paired with the written instructions are still helpful. And honestly, at the end of the day, the videos are the most helpful for getting my patterns found. I was searching for my 550 striped shawl on Google, and my simple asymmetric shawl popped up in search results because I have a YouTube tutorial on it. It's better for SEO to have a video tutorial with your pattern. So that's one of the reasons I've been more invested in that. What is your cat so interested in? She wants to go out for sure. I think that after this year, with your work you are doing now, testing out new things, I bet you will come up with a sort of template. I think so too. I mean, it's gonna change here and there, and it will still be work to go to different sizes because the rates will change. Because like stitch count to row gauge is what affects the ratio of these increases. So, but yeah, I think I'll still have like a basic template and it won't be as much legwork the first time out. That's the goal. Anytime you do anything, right, it gets just a little bit easier every step of the way. She's pouting and waiting. Yeah, she's doing really good. She's being very patient. I was thinking about the same thing. She's so pretty. Yeah, Miley is I think a S4, a Savannah cat. So she has really pretty markings. She's domesticated, but she still has that fun hunter lifestyle. She's always bringing me presents, birds, baby moles, any mice, field mice. That's what she wants to go do: hunt and protect the house, provide for the family. I'm holding her back. That's a good idea, Mod. I think so too. It really depends on the testers and if they're willing to do something like that. Not everyone has the space, time, equipment to be able to contribute to something like that. And I'm already asking them to make it basically for free. I mean, just in exchange for the PDF. So having even more requirements doesn't necessarily feel fair to me. The cat must be more of a knitter. She's like, yeah, mom, you're boring me with this chat. Actually, I think she just likes to chew yarn. Like, for real. I have to put it away sometimes, especially when she's frisky, because and she's got really sharp claws. All right, so that was everything for my works in progress. And honestly, I really don't even want to take this off. So we can just keep wearing it because it's nice and cozy and warm. So moving on to check it out. I wanted to talk about Hobbii Bingo. Have you guys tried that? So just this last weekend, Lacey hit me up and she was like, Hobbii Bingo's about to start. If you want to do it, it's super easy. And I had been hearing about it, but I hadn't actually tried it yet. So I downloaded the app. So there's an app in the App Store, and then you log in. I think you have to create an account and it connects to your Hobbii account. And then there's a host, and then it runs by itself. So you just turn on the app, it signs you in, it automatically assigns you a bingo card. And there were 2 bingo cards and 3 games per card, at least when I played this last week. And each game has a prize that you could win, and the host kind of shows off the yarn and what you could make with it, and they're like decent sized packages of yarn. Um, I I want to say most of them were at least like 9 or 10 skeins, hanks of yarn, ranging from some of their lower end priced acrylic all the way up to they had their Dolce Cashmere on there, which is one of their more expensive yarns. So, you know, what are the chances of winning? Who knows? It probably has to do with number of participants, but it was really fun to just watch the cards fill out on their own and see if you might potentially win. And then at the end of it, you end up winning points towards your account that you can spend in the point store anyway. So you get a bonus for participating. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so check it out if you're interested. I put a link in the description box to their web page that talks about the bingo. I quickly skimmed through it. It looks like they host it by region. So I'm in the US region bingo, and I think they separate the other regions. Uh, at least that's my understanding. Maybe I didn't read that completely clearly enough. But have you played Hobbii Bingo? I know you have, Lacey. Oh gosh, I had a cat that used to go hunting with my dog. They were a team. I would sit and watch them out the window for hours. They were best friends. Laney and Twitch. Those are cute names. Laney and Twitch Monster. I have Max and Miley, and I like to name my cats like really long names, but then call them short names. So his full name is Maximus Prime, but we just call him Max. And then Miley was David's cat, who I basically adopted when they moved in. Regarding Hobbii Bingo, one of the people of the crochet server I am in participated. They noticed the same person won 2 weeks in a row and they didn't even engage in chat. Well, that's interesting. I'm hoping that it's not like a predetermined fake winner. Would be like the downside, but then the positive side would be like it's really that random that you could win twice and not engage in chat. I know I didn't engage in chat at all. So I literally just turned it on next to me while I was working on my secret design. It seems like it were bots that were winning. Oh, that's no fun. I don't have 100% confirmation, but it seemed suspicious. Well, now I feel like I should go on a hunt to find someone that's real, that has actually won. I feel like that's an adventure that needs to happen because it really wouldn't be that hard to find out and verify if there are legitimate winners. And it's hard to know on there because, yeah, if somebody was actively watching and winning, you would think that they would be in chat like, "Oh, yay, I'm so excited to win. I can't wait to use this yarn for whatever." Haha, yes, find out the truth for us. I shall go investigating. I have wondered that. I haven't even seen a winner post about it. Oh, that's interesting too. Well, now I'm gonna have to go on the hunt because yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you still get rewards points for opening the app and participating. So you still get a bonus for something, but do you have a realistic chance of winning? This is important to know. All right, moving on to Let's Chat. Hi, Miley. I know you're being so patient. uh, so I was working on a secret design this week that is finally finished, and it has been a pain. It has been what I've worked on primarily for the week, because yeah, outside of not even half a sleeve, and then the back panel for a whole week, like that's not a lot of making for me when we're talking about like worsted weight. So this secret design. It took me 6 attempts to finally nail it. Like, to be fair, I had never made anything like this construction style before. So I was adventuring into unknown territories for myself, which caused many problems because you don't know what you don't know. And if you have a mistake in your thought process, that comes out in the making process. So I made the first sample and It was nice, and honestly, it probably would have been just fine, but I was like, "You know what would make it better?" So then I made another one, and then it didn't like, it was a little better, but it still needed some tweaking, so I made another one, and then that's when I had my aha moment of, "Oh, this is what I really need to do," and you guys, because I'm writing the pattern before I make it, I'm crunching the numbers, rewriting the pattern in between every sample as well. So, yeah, and then I had to make this design into different sizes. That's when I found out that I graded it wrong. So then I had to go back and find that error, which I found, and then finally, sixth time's a charm. So my question to you is, like, literally on my notes, you guys, I wrote, "LOL, would you?" Like, would you have just been like, "You know what? First sample's fine, calling it a day," or would you have kept going until you were fully satisfied? How many times do you think is your cutoff? Because, like, honestly, at this point, having made it 6 times to like, I'm in love with it now. It's wonderful and perfect in every way, and I'm so glad that I did it, but it made that pattern, instead of taking me 1 week, if I would have just stuck with the first sample, it took me a whole month, with most of the work being put into this last week. But I took a whole week off from it too because I was so mad after the third time didn't work out. I was like, "You're in timeout, I'm not touching you all week. I have time." I'm still within my deadline. But would you have called it, it's fine after the first one, or would you have kept working on it, working on it, working on it until it was perfect? And how many times do you think is your cutoff? I think my cutoff is, like, literally unlimited. Like, if you're working on a deadline, you can only fit so many samples in, and you would be forced to stop at some point to meet your deadline. But if this was an independent design and there was no deadline, I would have just kept going and going and going until it was perfect. And if I couldn't nail it, I would have just chalked it up and not released it. Um, Mocha, you'd think someone would have done an unboxing at this point, so that might be a good place to start the investigation. Yeah, Mocha, I think you're onto something here. If we start searching that way, and also hashtags, I think are a good way to go about it. So yeah, I think that we could definitely go searching and see. Yeah, that's what I do. It is so automatic, so I just let it sit there while I crochet, but the points are adding up. Exactly. I don't know if it's always 100 points, but that's what I got for participating, and um, I think it's only weekly. I don't know. Lacey, correct me if I'm wrong. I only did the one last week, and I think it's the same time every time. So you can earn up to 100 points a week. That adds up. How many points did I pay for my crochet hook? It was only a couple hundred points, I think, for a crochet hook. So like, you still get a pretty decent deal. You really went above and beyond, but because I have never had a pattern in a magazine, I would have redid it until it was perfect. Any other scenario, though, I would have likely left it as is. And that's the other thing too. I think if it was for me personally, my tie to my love of the finished project is going to drive that too. Because this is one that is unlike anything that I've seen out there. Like, I've seen things similar, but not the way that I did. It's different enough that I really wanted it to be something available, and I really want it for me. Like, that has been the biggest deciding factor for whether a design is going to do well for me or not, is if I love it. And I know, like, my taste is not mass market taste, but there's enough people, I think, with my taste that it'll at least appeal to them, and appeal to them so much so that they have to have it, which is better than appealing to everybody, but everyone's like, like, I like it, but not enough that I have to have it. I would have probably taken a breather of a few weeks, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I definitely did not touch it for an entire week. I would get too frustrated. So you're gifting all your friends and family one of these mystery things? I so I like they would make it would make a great gift. I will say that. Like that is the whole other purpose behind the design is it is a great giftable design, great for yourself and great to gift. And that's the other thing I was going to bring up too. So I can go ahead and bring that up now. It's sized for 10 sizes. Now, if this was me on my own, I would have separated the pattern into two different patterns with 5 sizes in each. But the request was for me to put all 10 sizes together into one pattern. So it is something that you literally can make for any age, which also makes it a great gift. I don't want to make another one of these probably until the pattern comes out in a year because I'm just like so tired of making them. But um that's my other question. How many sizes is too many sizes in a pattern? And I think this might come down to how it's written as well, because um, sometimes when you do things in patterns with charts, you can fit a ton of sizes into one pattern and it's pretty easy to follow. But if you're not using a chart and you're actually writing out and like being very specific about each stitch and where it goes, it was kind of crazy. Like not gonna lie, it hurt my head to write it, and it's a little crazy when you look at it because you're looking at a brick of 10 numbers. So you really have to go through and find your specific number in all of the areas that the pattern is different. It's a lot. Have you what are the okay, so what do you think is your cut what as a cutoff for sizes in a pattern, and what is the most sizes you've ever seen in a pattern? And have you ever quit making a design because there were too many sizes in the pattern and you found it confusing? I know that's a lot of questions, but I'm curious. Uh, Mocha, 2 words, Granny Gingham. Hang in there, Mocha, put it in timeout, come back to it. You will figure this out, and when you do, it is going to be epic. I like 1000% know that. But yes, you know, you know the frustration. Yes, bingo is weekly and 100 points each time. Well, then there you go. I mean, that's up to 400 points a month just to hang out and potentially who knows the odds for winning, but potentially win more than just your points. I only make things once though. I don't share patterns. Ugly stuff stays hidden and frogged for the yarn later. Yes, I'm pretty much the same way when it comes to making like that. I usually only make things once. It because I think part of it for me is the excitement of making something in a new way. And so once I've done that, I don't really want to do it again. And then ugly stuff, yeah. I have a box full of ugly stuff and I have frogged. I've frogged whole sweaters, I've frogged partial blankets. I'm not afraid to frog and reclaim the yarn. It took me a while to get over that hurdle because all I could see was the lost time. But I'm finally there because I'm like, I don't care about the time. The yarn is more important. And it does no good sitting as a sweater that I don't like. Um, and I really wanted that yarn for myself because once you start paying more and more money for the yarn, you get more and more attached to it. Like I don't want to give this sweater that I don't like to somebody else. It was my yarn, like my pumpkin queen yarn. I couldn't imagine giving this away. I think 5 sizes is kind of the max there should be. Yeah, 5 is a nice number to follow. For my sweaters, I do 7, which the way that it's mathed out gives a pretty good range. Is a to fit a 32-inch bust up to a 56-inch bust. And if I was going to stick to the 5 sizes, I would have to split that up into a smaller sweater sizes and then larger sweater sizes. And then my concern for that would be people accidentally buying the wrong set of sizes, which I've done with sewing patterns before. They'll come in like the smaller sets or the larger sets. Lacey, the Max. Yeah, he is sleeping over in the corner. Oh, the max. You're talking about the max of sizes. Yeah, the max being 5. If I saw a pattern with 10 sizes in it, I would not even start it. I mean, I think if it was something unique enough that you were in love with enough, it might be able to sway your opinion, but I do think that it would be frustrating. I mean, I wrote it, so then when I followed it, it wasn't that hard, but, like, again, I wrote it, so I also kinda already knew what to do and where to look. I prefer the total write out per size. Oh, it's interesting. So X pages for size small, X pages for size medium. I don't like all the sizes underneath each other where it's like small to medium, do these rows, large to extra large, add this. Yeah, so that is how I have my patterns written, where it's all together for all sizes. And then where the sizes branch out a little bit, it's broken down to, yeah, like small to medium, do this, large to extra large, do this, and then back to all sizes again. Um, I have yet to actually write out the sizes individually, which is totally an option for independent designs that I didn't consider. When you look at things that are going into print, they want to save on print space. So why would they want, if the first 36 rows are the same, why would they want you to separate that out between each size to save on space? But when you're looking at the user end, if you could literally just print the pages that were your size, that is something I need to think more about, because as as an independent designer, I can offer different sets of PDFs per pattern. I could realistically, it's a little more work, of course, but I could offer the consolidated set, and then I could also offer the individual sizes. Because why not? Like literally all the places I sell my patterns, I can add as many PDFs as I want to that sale, as far as I know. It gets confusing. The crochet rundle sock pattern had lots of sizes, but it wasn't confusing. I have seen sweater patterns with tons of sizes and look really confusing. If I wanted to do it, I'd highlight my size. That is the best way to go about it when you're following sizes that are written in that condensed style where there's the breakouts. Yeah, and I mean, there's so many different ways to write out the same instructions that, sometimes it comes down to style, and the right style has more clarity and is easier to follow. I wasn't thinking about sweaters. That is different. It's not a small thing. I think that matters too. And Maud, I love that idea. I would like to follow a pattern that way. Right. I mean, it's just exactly your numbers. And you wouldn't have to worry about it at all. That I might do that for this cardigan, especially this cardigan, because of the unique shaping. Almost none of the raglan increases are the same. They start the same, but the numbers are different within the row, and then they start breaking away from each other at different points because of your armhole depth is different for the different sizes. So that might not be a bad idea to offer that as a second option. I use a highlighter to mark my specific size. Yeah, I was using a pin just to circle my size. As a fluffy woman, I've had a hard time where I'm looking for patterns, and most of the time I can't find anything my size. I'm not good at creating my own thing, and I'm not there yet. So I appreciate it when there are exercises, because I'm a plus size woman. So it helps I wear a 2X 23. Yeah, so that fits within the range of I believe of my sizes. I've been listening to people talk about sizes, which is why I've been trying to name my sizes specifically to their measurements, so to fit a 32-inch bust versus what people would typically call an extra small or a size 0 or 2. But um I think the typical sizes, mine range up to 3X, what I've been writing so far. I've yet to actually put out my own independent adult-sized sweater. I have one published sweater in a magazine that goes up to 3X. But I'm on my way, as you can tell. That's the plan. No, I have never found a cuss word printer that works well. They never want to connect to my devices for some reason, so it is not possible to print patterns out for. Oh boy. So I have an HP that was David's. I have no idea what price range it was or where he got it, but I really like it. And I've had HP printers in the past. So I enjoy the biggest pain with the printers is the cost of the ink, I swear. Like that's how they know they get you. They're like, oh yeah, we can sell the printer for really cheap and just jack up the prices of ink because you're always going to need to buy more. Stupid marketing models. So maybe I guess look for the cheaper ink and go for the printer that uses the cheaper ink. But that would make it harder to follow and mark out your size if you're following the e-version, unless it was already just your size. I am a 2X as well. Look for more modern designer patterns. They are usually more size inclusive. Yeah, there are some great Instagram accounts that are focused on sharing patterns and pattern designers that are size inclusive and had their testers test the larger sizes, because that's the other thing. I've seen it more in the knitting community, because that's where I was spending a lot of time in the knitting community when I was learning to knit before I started adventuring into crochet design. And sizing is difficult. So you really want to make sure that those plus sizes have been tested, because you can't just, like I was mentioning with the V-neck of the Ice Cream Delight cardigan earlier, you can't just use the same increase rate for all the sizes. It has to be custom, especially when you get to the larger sizes, because the width is growing faster than the height. So as long as the designer's accounted for that, and the best way to know is if you can actually see people your size wearing the sweater. But I forget the name of the Instagram account that is like, it's kind of like a community that is sharing and promoting designers who use size inclusive, like are size inclusive, and have testers that test all of the sizes, as well as like trying to put the testers with the designers, just kind of bringing this community together that is promoting size inclusivity. But yeah, I can't remember the name for the life of me. Uh, Sorry, there was a typo. I meant to say I wear a 2X to a 3X. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know if the 22 was like, when it comes to like a dress sizes, the 32-inch bust is like a 0 to 2, and then I have on the 2 and 3X, the measurements I used were like labeled like 22 wide or like 26 wide, I think. I don't know because I don't use those numbers, but they were attached to the numbers I pulled. Printers are annoying, to be honest. You need to buy a new one every few years because they stop putting out updates, so it's not even compatible with newer devices. Yeah, isn't that just the big scam by major corporations? Is we don't want you to own something that could last forever. Why? We could just make more money off of you by shortening lifespans and discontinuing updates. And yeah, the ink is ridiculous. I buy Canon printers and fake ink cartridges. That's smart. Yeah, I got you. Not fake, but like off-brand. Yeah, because I mean, really, when you looked at the end of the day, like most things are manufactured from the same plants, remarketed, rebranded, middlemen pushed out. It's frustrating. Can you tell I'm not a big fan of capitalism? I've got a Canon that works with my laptop, cell phone, etc. It's wireless and Bluetooth. That's nice. Our HP does wireless, but I struggle, like it disconnects half the time, and the drivers and the updates. I usually just hardwire print everything from our main desktop. Sorry, I always get fuzzies in my nose from all my yarns when I'm live streaming. Fast Test Knits is a good one on Instagram. Oh, I don't think that I've ever seen that one. That's good. That's good to know. And it's very difficult with patterns and using it digitally. So difficult. That's why I'm aggravated by magazines that are only online. Oh, yeah, I haven't. I like it print too. So the magazines I do subscribe to come in the mail. But I also see why a magazine would do online only. It saves a ton of costs, like so many. I'm a 3X on top, read boobs. Yes. Yes, you are well endowed, Woka. And a 1X on the bottom. It's a pain finding design that can actually make sense. That is interesting. I feel like that's a whole market in its own to have something that, yeah, because it sounds like, especially the way I do my patterns, if there's no decreasing after your full bust, it's like crazy huge around your waist. If you're comfortable with your ability to follow patterns, you should look for testing opportunities to help get them out there. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is a great place to start. And in the process, you'll get to start learning more about the more sweaters you make, the more you start to piece together sweater design, and you'll start to get comfortable making modifications to fit things to you. But yeah, it's a lot of work. It's less work to modify a pattern to fit just you. It's a lot more work to actually put out a pattern that will fit everybody. That is like the number one struggle. Same here, hard to find. Yeah, that's rough. I'll have to look at my numbers that I have for my plus size uh, sizes, because I wonder if they show that much of a difference between the upper bust and the waist, and if that's a whole new set of body style that I could create garments for. It's intriguing for me. Fat test knits, not fast test knits. I think that's the account you're referring to. It might be. That might be it. That sounds about right. I'm so bad. My brain is more correlated to pictures than names. So like if I saw the account, I'd be like, yeah, that's the one, versus the name. I'm not super sure. You can highlight a PDF. Do you use an app for that, Mocha? Or like what is your PDF reader? For the longest time, I thought it was fattest knits. Oh, instead of fat test knits, fattest knits. That's great. So it does save costs for online magazines, but also why pay for a magazine when you can read blogs for free? So I don't subscribe to them. Fair enough. They lose a ton of customers because of that. Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. The only attraction factor outside of that would be if they had a design that was good enough to pull you in and it wasn't available for free somewhere. That would be the one determining factor. But again, it's hard because those really eye-catching designs typically aren't simple, because if it was simple, it'd already be done. And there's not really an incentive to design those. So I use Tiny PDF to highlight PDFs on my iPad. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. That's so Tiny PDF is the app. That sounds super helpful. All right, so we are over an hour, but I have a few more things I was going to chat about, and then we'll call it a day. So that was my weekend crafts. Outside of being crafty, we are one step closer to buying our farmhouse, which is so exciting. So we wired over some money and we've got our inspection on Monday. So I'm super excited. The inspection's super important because this is a fixer-upper. We get to find out just all of the areas that really do need work and repair and get an estimate on what those costs are going to be. So I'm really excited for that on Monday. Hopefully I don't see you guys next week all defeated like, ah. And then also, I'm like feeling full of energy because I started a new workout program this week, which I had been meaning to get around to. I'm somebody who typically stays pretty active and I like to stay super healthy. So I have a Beachbody On Demand subscription, which I'm not a big fan because they make it very difficult for you to unsubscribe. You can't just go into your account and unsubscribe. You have to call a number and argue with someone why you don't want to do it anymore. And I'm just not a fan of those kind of marketing tactics, but they do have really good programs. You can outright buy them, or with the subscription service, you get access to all of the programs. And so I usually just keep my service active because I can pick up and drop any workout at any point. And they have like yoga, they have stuff for prenatal fitness, which told you guys, hopefully there'll be another baby on the way later this year. So I started, it's called MBF, which is Muscle Burns Fat. And I've really been enjoying it. I'm only 5 days into the program. You work out every day and it's 21 days long. And it is pretty heavily weight training. So you use a set of weights and you record how many weights you're doing, what weight you're doing, how many reps. And it's 7 different workouts that you repeat for the next 2 weeks. And hopefully you're increasing your weights as you go along. And then there's a indoor jump rope. Have you guys ever used an indoor jump rope? It is weird. It looks super inappropriate. It's just a handle with a rope with like a weighted ball on the end. Uh, but I wanted to give it a try. And it's kind of fun, and it's a really good forearm workout. So yeah, it's mostly lifting weights and then a little bit of cardio with that indoor jump rope. But it's been nice to I do it every time Annie goes down for her nap so I can stay consistent. And it's really the only time I can do it. And I've been feeling really good. It feels good to be getting back into working out. And I've paired it with trying out HelloFresh. Have you guys tried out a subscription meal box like that before? We did our first week of HelloFresh last week, and it is pricey, right? You're paying for not having to go to the grocery store and not having to plan your meals, but it is cheaper than eating out. So I was in love with the fact that the groceries showed up in my door and I didn't have to plan the meals. I was like, here are the meal recipe cards. I showed my kids. I'm like, all right, which one do you guys want today? They'd pick it. My 7-year-old helped me cook the easier parts of the meal, which she loved. And it made her more likely to eat it because she's a little bit of my picky eater. Jack's a little picky too, honestly, though. So that was exciting because, like, when we made the potato wedges, she's like, I seasoned these, I made these. And that was really cool. So the combination of like the home cooked fresh dinners every night and workout, like I'm feeling good, guys. How has your week been? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Have you tried anything new? Working on anything exciting? I haven't even asked you guys yet. Um, Mod saying some blogs are barely usable with the amount of ads. I definitely pay for more intricate designs. It's worth it. I know I have my blog set with like a ton of ads because that's the whole point. I need to get paid some way for my work, either through advertisements or the sale of the PDF itself. And I try to keep my PDFs reasonably priced. And then at least with the YouTube tutorials for some of the easier, quicker patterns, the ads on those aren't as long. I'm still not monetized on YouTube yet, but I know that YouTube can run ads on non-monetized channels. I'm close though, right? I've got my 1,000 subscribers. I just haven't hit my watch time yet. I think I'm like 3/4 of the way there. I use Acrobat. I have the paid version, but the free version also allows you to highlight. Oh, there's also an app. Well, that's good. Is it a subscription or a one-time fee? Is it expensive? I crocheted a sweater, made the bust size for me, but the bottom rib I did a straight men's style instead of the flared woman's that it called for, and it worked. Oh, that sounds beautiful. What kind of sweater was it? Was it like a plain stitch? Did it have any sort of detailing on it? Was there a special stitch? Woohoo! Congrats on steps towards getting the farm of your dreams. Oh, it's so exciting! Like, I'll have to do a tour when it officially becomes ours. Hopefully, anything could fall through at any moment, of course. But like, actually having to put the first funds down was like, we're getting closer. But I mean, it really needs a lot of work. But the potential for this place, like, I see it. It is of my dreams, absolutely. Files on iPads has highlight and write. Files on iPad. Got emailed a test PDF and am able to mark it up. Oh, that's awesome. Sweater. Yeah, I thought that's what I made a sweat. That's once I saw bust, I was like, I think she means sweater. I hate typing, especially if you're on your phone. What if you could mix and match parts of patterns like those books that are split into 3 sections and you could put one head style with a different body style with a different leg and foot style? Okay, Lacey, like this is like right up my alley. I love mix and match things. When I was a kid, I would always look for the choose your own ending books. And that's what this sounds like. It would definitely be a lot of work. And I think that would be more of an ebook or a book style design, but I don't see how it would not be doable. I think what would need to happen is the entire thing would be dependent upon one gauge. You would have to have the same gauge for all of the patterns, I think, so that the stitch counts and the row counts and everything worked up, because and then you'd have to have the same style of creation. So it could be mix and match top down seamless sweaters, or mix and match seamed sweaters, or I don't think you could, mix and match a top down with the seamed kind of a deal. But there's definitely potential with that idea. I like that. It reminds me of a knitting pattern I bought back when I was pregnant with my daughter. It was a mix and match pants for babies, and it had like 4 different waistband options, 2 or 3 different butt options. Because, and here's something that a lot of people don't think about, and I've seen it when patterns come out for shorts. Your butt's round, and depending on like how round yours is, the best way to curve that fabric is to work short rows in knitting, or in crochet, a set of increases and then decreases would probably be your best bet. Which you could do that in knitting too. It's just that it is more seamless and less noticeable when you do the short rows. So on the kids pattern, it had more or less butt padding, with instructions how to add more or less short row shaping for if you've got a baby that's in a store-bought diaper versus a homemade diaper. Takes up a lot more space. And then there were different like width leg options and then end leg options. Like you could flare the end, you could keep it straight, or you could taper it in. And then there were border of the feet options. So like a rolled hem or a ruffled hem, or it was gorgeous. It was an awesome pattern. I think it was $10, but I felt like it was worth it because from that one pattern, I could have knit her like 5 different pairs of pants. Obviously, for me, I was like one and done, but the value was definitely there. And if I ever want to knit pants for a baby again, I've got that pattern in my pocket. Worsted weight, it's great. And I should say that was $10 like 7 years ago, which it was not very common to see a pattern for $10 back then. Now it's becoming more of a price point that I see, at least in the knitting community and in the crochet garment areas. I'm so excited for y'all. Thank you, Marquita. I'm so excited to move. You guys, last night I had to call the cops. Something hit my house, and I'm just like so ready not to live here anymore. I don't know what it is. They chalked it up to either a bird flew into the house or maybe somebody threw a rock at the house. I did see a decent sized rock in the yard, but it freaked me out. I had David come home. I ended up staying the night at my dad's because I'm just like, I don't know if like this was intentional or not. And I think the thing that freaked me out the most is because I was laying in my bed watching TV with my head against the wall, and that's where the rock hit. Like literally the wall behind my head, like to the point that it hurt. And it scared me so bad because I was watching TV, and then it's like bam, getting hit in the back of the head through the wall. So I screamed and I jumped up and I ran to the other end of the house, and I called David right away. And then I called my brother, who doesn't live that far away, and he came over, and David came home, and I didn't go outside. I had them look around, and nothing. I called the cops to file a police report, and they just did some patrols throughout the night, but I didn't stay here because I was not about to have that. But yeah, I'm ready to move. Yay for the farm. Yay. Thank you. Oh, that's smart. Lacey. Beachbody is super overpriced, at least for their drinks. Yes. So that is the thing. They use MLM marketing, multi-level marketing for like their drinks and their basically their marketing period. And I am like super anti MLM. So I'm not a fan of that. But at the end of the day, they do put out really good workout programs because they partner with really amazing trainers. You really do get the results they say. That's not false advertising at all. I have yet to find workout programs that I enjoy as much as theirs. But all the add-ons and the marketing, not a fan. So just super clear about that. Yay, baby. Yeah, I know you just want me to have a baby so you can squeeze it and give it lovins. We're thinking maybe after this summer. We'll see. How did I miss? There's no baby on the way. There's no baby on the way. Just eventually. Sometime this year. Yeah, I'm not pregnant yet. I want to move before I get pregnant. But yeah, there will be another one eventually, I'm sure, if we're lucky. Which coach is it? I'm all about Sean. Dude, I love Shanti. He is my favorite coach. I actually don't know her name. She's new to their programs. She's real tall, thin, very muscular, and blonde. I can't remember her name. But Shanti, his workouts are the ones I've done the most of. So I've done Insanity, I've done Size It Up, and I've done Insanity Max 30. And Insanity Max 30 is when I was the most fittest of my life. I dang near had a six pack. And like I could like flex and I was ripped. It was great. And I was very healthy. And I think that's why I had such a healthy pregnancy with Annie, because I had done Insanity Max 30 all the way through a couple months before I ended up getting pregnant. So that is also why I'm working out again. I know if I can get really, really fit before I get pregnant, that'll make for a healthier, better pregnancy, delivery, and all of that. And baby. But yeah, love Shanti. Don't do too much because it will stop your period. So no, baby. Luckily, I've been super fit my entire life, so I'm used to that kind of flow. And in my experience, exercising is what ends up getting me pregnant, anyways. My son I had is probably too TMI, but I don't care. My son and my daughter are only a year apart. I was 3 months. My daughter was 3 months old when I found out I was pregnant with my son. And I blame that on working out. I was in the military at the time and had to get back into shape so I could pass my physical fitness test, because it used to be you only had 6 months after birth to pass again. They've now extended that to a year, thankfully, but back then it was only 6 months. So I started Insanity, actually. I started doing Insanity, and about 3 weeks into Insanity, I got pregnant. So I think it'll actually bring the baby on, because that's what it has done for me in the past. I started eating a salad for lunch and lost a couple pounds. Congratulations. I wish I could do that. I hate salads. I've followed a couple like diet regimens, and a lot of them will call for a salad in the afternoon, which is a great way to get in all of your vitamins and greens. But after like 2 or 3 days of eating a salad for lunch, my body literally rejects it. Like I put it in my mouth and it's like, nope. I can't do it. I have to do like roasted vegetables and like not as many. I can't eat that many leafy greens. I can't. I did HelloFresh. It was pretty good, but it is pricey. It is. It is pricey. It's not as pricey as eating out, but it's close. It's close. But it's really nice for me with 3 kids. I'm not very good at planning, and I hate going to the grocery store. So I'm going to see if it's something we can't keep doing and fit it into our budget, because, gosh, it was like a treat to just have the food delivered and then the meals there. And I love cooking, so it's not like I'm like, oh, it's a chore. I prefer home cooked meals, and I prefer to make them myself because I can cook better than anything you're going to get in the frozen aisle and at most chain restaurants. So I recommend the book. It starts with the egg. If you haven't read it yet, I haven't. It starts with the egg. Is this a vegan thing? I have really wanted to try those grocery boxes. I've been thinking about Misfits box, but I also have looked at HelloFresh. So I don't know if Misfits does actual meals or they just give you the Misfit produce. I'm not against using Misfit produce, but that does still require planning, and that's my problem. I go to the grocery store, buy whatever's on sale and staples, and then I don't have any plans for it, and so then I end up with food waste. With HelloFresh, there was literally zero food waste. It was exactly the amount of proportions we needed, and it used everything, and that was, to me, was amazing to have no food waste. Because I get bored of doing the same repeated stitches, I'm working on my way so this way my garment could be much smaller, but kind of giving me incentive. Oh, nice. Yeah, I do get bored repeating stitches. I've got I haven't showed it off in a while because I haven't been working on it. A thin sport weight linked double crochet top, and it's taking me like an hour to do one row, and it's all the same stitch, so I haven't been working on it. It's all about calories in and calories out. No way around that. It's absolutely true. Calories in, calories out, and then also making sure you're getting the right vitamins. It's super important to get the vitamins, the variety, and the I know the best thing is to do is, I think they call it tracking macros, like your carbs, your fat, and I'm blanking on the other one, carbs, fats, and protein intake. And there's like an ideal ratio depending on what your goal is. And Swear I can never get enough protein in according to what they want. My week was so exciting because both my dog yarn and my yarn winder and Swift Drive, yay, caked up some yarn this morning and it was so fun. Thanks for your recommendation last time. Yay! I'm so glad that so you got a Stanwood? Freaking love the Stanwoods. Or did you get the style of the Stanwood? It's like the luxury of a Swift and ball winder. I will run your playlist tonight and help you get your Oh, thanks. Thank you so much. It's very sweet. It's a couple thousand, but I'll get there. We're all still sick here with some stomach bug. Thankfully, it's not COVID, but I am so sorry because a sick house is never fun. I've been eyeing Dinnerly. As for Foe, I finished my cow. Yay! I'm so excited to join your cow. Just need to get enough energy to film the video for it. Yeah, when you're sick, you're down. It's a slog to get anything done. Dinnerly. I haven't heard anything about Dinnerly, but I do have a friend that uses another subscription called Every Plate, which you can't quote me, but I think it's a little cheaper. And instead of getting the exact portions, so like instead of getting a clove of garlic, you get the whole bulb of garlic. But I like getting the exact portions. I mean, that way you get more of what you pay for, but I like not having the food waste. It was a plain sweater. It's posted on my Instagram. I will go check it out. Goosebumps, choose your own ending. Yes, yes, Lacey, you get it. I have a box full of Goosebumps, and the choose your own ending, I would spend hours, and you like mark the page and then go back and be like, well, what if I didn't do that? What if I we need choose your own ending patterns. I have seen one. I saw someone do a mystery knit along that was a choose your own pattern. And I think it was 4 clues, 2 different options each time. But something like that tends to be more of like a sampler. So as long as you like sampler style things, it's fine. But yes, I'm all about choose your own ending anything. If I was a writer, I always said that I would write choose your own ending smut for stay-at-home moms because like I feel like there's totally a market for that. Could you imagine choose your own ending 50 Shades of Grey? Like I feel like that's a bestseller. Okay, Kim, I hope y'all start feeling better soon. I do too. Fashion plates for crochet. Anyone remember? Oh, okay. So fashion plates is before my time, but I've seen videos of them. I think you did age yourself a little bit, Mocha. Fashion plates are so much fun. I've been binge watching Ugly Betty. She wears a knit wearable almost every week. That's so cool. I've never seen it. She works as an outsider in the fashion industry. The knits are a part of being ugly in a fashionable world needs to be done away with. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Oh, I know. I will be patient for baby. Yeah. I mean, with this definitely being as planned as possible, I want to make sure it works out well for everyone. Just because I really just don't want to be moving pregnant. You have beautiful little babies and kidlings. Thank you, Lacey. Yes, I am very fortunate, very lucky. Build your body up, make it strong. I need to get myself into shape. I miss being more fit, and I only have myself to blame. Yeah, it's one of those things where I've been like for months. Well, I mean, basically since I had my daughter a year ago, after a couple months passed, and I was able to work out again, I just didn't. And I was working out before I got pregnant with her. It's just kind of that launch back into things, and it's the hardest part. The first week is the worst. Well, day 2 and 3 are the worst, at least with the programs that I choose, because I get really sore. Like I literally, every time I sat down to use the restroom, I was like, ah, and I'm just like, when is this going to stop? Because my legs were just so sore. I'm finally now sore to the point that it's just like a little like could use a stretch sore, not like actually like wincing to use the muscles sore. Starts with the Egg is about fertility and optimizing your health before getting pregnant. That sounds amazing. No, I've never read that. But yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the healthiest I've ever been have been my best pregnancies. I also love cooking, but it's nice when you don't have to think about what you make. That's what you're basically paying for. It's the not planning, the not shopping, and not thinking, just doing. I have a hard time with like, okay, what am I going to make today? I have that too. So it's for me, it's like literally paying someone to do that for me. And then I think eventually after I cut collect enough recipes, I might be able to put together my own shopping lists and plans. But even then, it still requires planning. Don't like to plan. If you have a Bed Bath & Beyond and you're looking for some good cookware, check out Blue Diamond Cookware. I've heard of the brand, but I don't have any. That sounds nice. Is that the Hobbii gradient? I'm waiting for updates. Yes, that is the Hobbii gradient. It sounds like Annie's asleep with David, so I keep chatting a little longer. She didn't sleep well last night because we left in the middle of the night at like whatever hit the house at like 10, and we went over to my dad's probably around 11:30 midnight, and then she's like all hyped because she's like, well, this is not my house, and then didn't want to go back to bed until like 2 in the morning. This is it. Yeah, this is the Hobbii gradient. This was from their Halloween. I just got into like almost the black, but like I've literally done one row, I think, in the last month. Here's my stitch marker. That's where I was. So it's like literally one row in the last month because it's so boring, but it's going to be really pretty. And it's more of like it's thinner and lighter, and it's cotton. It's a cotton acrylic blend. So it's going to be more of a spring summer top. So it's not even like the season yet. Maybe when the season gets closer to being here, I'll probably put some more work into it. No, I don't think Misfits does the meal preps. That's a good point. I have been so bad about cooking lately. Yeah, me too. That's part of what kicked the HelloFresh off too, is I was like, if I'm going to be working out, I need to be eating home cooked meals because frozen foods are so chock full of preservatives and not good for you. And so it's like, what's the point in like working out all the time and then eating bad food because it's convenient? Playlist watch party for a minute. Thank you, Lacey. I didn't get a stand wood, but the style, and good thing because the cogs were a bit snaggy, but all good after adding some mineral oil. So glad it was an open design. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I really like that flat style Swift so much better. I'm looking forward to starting your Cal. Yes. OMG, I'd read it. Yeah, that book sounds right up your alley, Lindsay. Can you please write this book for me? No, I am not a writer. Maybe knock on Mocha's door for that one. I can write decently well. I did well in college in my writing classes. I just don't enjoy it. Mostly because like you guys hear how I speak. That's how I think, and that doesn't always translate well into writing. So I'm frequently having to edit and re-edit, which I think is probably the process, but I hate it. So so sorry, not me. Somebody else take my idea and run with it. I don't care. Oh, they canceled the show. That's always how that works, isn't it? It's a good store, though. Yep, that's where I'm at. A good store. Love the colors. Yes, I'm very excited, and it is looking more and more like just 2 cakes will be enough, which is great. Or there is the option to get, I think they still have that one in stock, actually. I think they still have their Halloween twister cakes on super discount. So I could probably snag another one if I needed, or I could snag a solid. So I'm giving you an assignment. You must do 1 row per every 3 days. Lacey, I can't stick to that assignment. Like, I get too excited by other things. I don't know if you guys remember my venomous cowl, the green and black one that needed the math redone. I just ripped that out the other day to try to work on that some. Sometimes I'm itching to do something plain. Sometimes I'm itching to solve a math problem. Sometimes I'm itching to complete a challenge. So it really depends. And if I'm in the heat of the moment of something else, I'm just going to like hate working on that row. And I don't want to feel like I'm hating a project. So I just set to the side. Set to the side. Maybe it sits there. Maybe I work on it. I don't know. I will need you to write a choose your own smut ending book, please. Thank you. 50 Shades of the Rainbow for all sexual. Oh my God. That is $1 million idea. Yeah, that, like, seriously, I feel like that's that right there, New York Times bestseller. If it was that literally that open where you could choose, yeah, your orientation and your preferred dating style, really, honestly, that would be, I don't think anything like that exists. You down, Mocha? In all your free time. LOL, I can't stick to an assignment either. Yeah, Lacey, I actually started testing a pattern for Lacey, but we hit a road bump with the one of the rows, and so that's in timeout. My assignment for you is to get that fixed so I can work on that. I have been itching to want to work on it, but I want to make sure it's ready to go before I go, and that I'm not just fudging it for me. I want it to be ready, ready and perfect, and oh, it's gonna be gorgeous when we get there. Whips, chains, and other naughty things, and choose your own adventure book for yarnies with strong libidos. I think that's it, Kim. I honestly would buy that. Is that bad? Anybody else? I would seriously buy it. And get it on Audible. Listen, Mocha, please take mods and Amanda's idea and make it happen. We hit a road bump as we were pulling out of the parking space. LOL. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really have a lot of fun in these live streams with you on Saturdays. I hope you have an amazing rest of your weekend and your week. And I will see you next Saturday for some kind of live chat, whether it's another episode or maybe we'll be talking about something else.